I have to go to work 8 hours a day for pretty much my whole fucking life to do anything for myself. How the fuck does that make sense, bro? I hate my life. Not really. It's not that bad. But it's crazy that we gotta fucking do that shit. 8 hours a day to go do whatever we want. Not even whatever we can. We do whatever we can. And there's not a problem with that. Which is crazy. That's what we're just doing. Everyone, every single fucking car I can see here is doing that same shit. Working for 8 hours, hating their fucking life, hating their day, but they're okay with it. That shit does not make sense. I'm about to go into my job right now. Mind you, I'm a little bit late. That's on me. That's my fault. But I just can't help but think, like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? We should not be spending, when do we retire? Like 50, 60, 70 maybe? We should not be spending all those years fucking working and doing nothing. That's tragic. But it's alright. We're grateful for the job. I just wish that it was more enjoyable. The payout was greater. And I didn't have to do it forever. Not the same one. Obviously, I'm not gonna have the fucking same job forever, but... And that's also crazy. For, like, retirement, don't you have to be at work for quite a while unless you get, like, a 401k? That shit is fucking wild. I just don't understand how more people are fucked up about it, bro. Just kind of like, yeah, I'm at work. The quarter-life crisis is coming too soon. Too soon, bro. But yeah, this shit is fucking crazy, bro. Yeah, I'll see you guys in 60 to 70 years.
This generation of kids, young adults, I'd rather say, don't have a sense of urgency. I watched a young lady get hit on TikTok and complain about working 8 hours. And I could only just think in my mind, like, well, if you don't complain about working 8 hours, right? How are you going to pay for everyday life? Let's say they take the minimum work hours down to 4 hours. How you going to live? How you going to live in that apartment? How you going to pay for your car note? How you going to grocery shop? Like, how much do y'all think employers should pay people an hour if they only work 4 hours? Do you expect them to make the paid wages go up to $50 an hour? Some doctors make $50 an hour. Lawyers and some nurses, not all nurses, depending on how far up in the nursing game you are, they make $50 an hour. Like, I don't get this generation. They don't want to work for nothing, but they want everything at their disposal. They want to be able to travel. How much you think the upkeep on a plane costs? You don't want to work 8 hours a day. You don't want to do the bare minimum to provide the lifestyle that you want. You want to travel. You want to live in a nice apartment. You want nice clothes. You want to eat well, but you don't want to work for it. These are businesses. Now, from a business point of view, these are businesses that got to keep the maintenance up. Let's say you live in your apartment. Most apartment buildings, they have to hire property managers. They have to hire maintenance managers. That stuff costs. Your grocery store, the trucks have to be to deliver the food. They have to pay the workers. They have to pay the people on to stock the shelves. That stuff costs. Like that's what I'm saying. These young adults don't want to work no more. They don't want to put an effort in doing nothing in everyday life, and it blows my mind. It really blows my mind. It's almost unbelievable. The next generation, I'm telling y'all, we talking about the next generation is our. They're gonna push the country forward now. These next generation of young adults, they gonna destroy this country because nobody want to work, nobody want to put effort in doing nothing. This is it. America is done.
So, watching both of those videos, you got to see both perspectives. You got the younger and the older generation. The younger generation feels like this doesn't make any sense. Why are we continuing to do this? Why are we just working and working and working, and then we get to a certain age and then we retire? Then you got the older generation basically stating that the younger generation is lazy, they don't want to work, They just want to live a certain lifestyle and hope that the income comes flying in. I understand. I see both sides. I'm part of the younger generation, and I feel like the older generation just doesn't understand the shift. It's almost like a gear turned in the younger generation's head, and they realize coming up through technology, because a lot of the older generation didn't come up through technology, but we were raised in an era with technology or grew up with technology, and you just see so many different possibilities, so many different avenues to make money and make good money, to the point to where you are financially stable, or you become a millionaire, maybe even cross the billionaire status through content creation or through any other means of making money. You got drop shipping, you got e-commerce, you got all these different options. But to just hop into that topic a little bit here, because I know, just to start off, everybody at one point in their life had that feeling of when you got your first paycheck, or not even your first paycheck. You finally got your paycheck after working a long week, 2 weeks, a month, however your money is distributed. And once you receive that paycheck, it was gone. It was gone because bills wiped out your entire account. Probably put you in the negatives. Probably put you with barely any money left over to do what you wanted to actually do with your money, besides just paying bills. Or if there is money there, you're using it for other things, such as probably putting it in savings. So you just don't have any money to actually play with. And that's such a frustrating feeling. It's such a gut-wrenching feeling, because it's like, man, I just worked so hard and this money's not even in the account. Like, I mean, it's like, man, now I got to go back to work and do this all over again. And depending on how your situation is set up, that happens again to you, or you actually finally have a paycheck where you got a little bit of money to spend, but still it's not up to your liking. It's just, it's one of those feelings that I'm pretty sure people have experienced, and nobody wants to feel that. It absolutely sucks. And that plays into a part of this continuous cycle that we're in, that they have designed a system for us to be comfortable being okay at the bottom, being okay struggling, being okay with inflation continuing to rise while our paychecks continue to stay the same, or some continuing to lower their paychecks, where some of these jobs not even going up to the new minimum wage that they're pushing. So situations like that prove that this economy is set up for the poor to stay poor and the rich to stay rich or get richer. That's why I like looking into these other options of making money, a side hustle, not just being comfortable working a 9 to 5. That realization came to me more recently. That's one of the reasons that pushed me into YouTube. But this whole topic of a 9 to 5 is something that I've been thinking about so deeply. I've been thinking about it deeply for a couple of years now. And going back into this topic, it's amazing. Just stop and think. You work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. That is 260 days a year you would be at work if you're 100% healthy and you take no days off besides the regularly scheduled days that you have. And then the average job gives you what? 2 weeks of vacation or / PTO time and sick time. Why do I keep saying sick? It's my bad. 2 weeks of sick time. So between the 260 days out of the year that you be working, you get a month off. And it's barely a month, because those 2 weeks don't usually include your off days. But let's say it does. You get an entire month off. Wow, congratulations. Out of 12 months, out of 12 months, you get 1 whole month off of work. And that's just become the norm. So most people would be like, wow, that's pretty good. Can't complain about that. Yeah, because that's the norm. That's the box that we've been contained inside of. So stepping outside of that is like, this is strange. This feels weird. But yeah, because you're so used to, you get PTO, you get 2 weeks of that. And you get 2 weeks of sick time. And you're like, wow, I get a whole month to do whatever I want to do with that. But once you step outside that box, you realize, a month, really? 260 days out of the year, and I only get 4 weeks? What is that? And you spend so much, you take a whole chunk of 8 hours out of your day where you have to basically help pump up and push up someone else's dream. That's basically what you're doing. You're keeping that business flowing. And what they do to keep you happy, they throw in the fact that, there's some benefits added in there for you. Man, I'm telling you, it's when you actually kind of think deeply on this, you just had that realization that, wow, this system is really designed to just keep us in this forever turning circle. It's like I'm on a merry-go-round, and where it's just gonna keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And then when it's finally your time to retire, that's when you step off the merry-go-round and a new young person takes your spot, and we do it all over again. And it just makes you kind of step out that box and take a look into the future and realize that there is other options, there's other opportunities. And it helped me make that realization. I don't want to be in that spinning cog. I don't want to be on that merry-go-round. I want to be able to use my time and do with it that I see fit, not just help boost somebody else's dream up or help stabilize a company. Because at the end, I don't know about any of you, but me personally, every time, man, when I was young, it was fun, it was energetic, it was nice. You making money, you just having a good time. But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing every time I clock in and clock out from work, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, mentally, physically, depending on what you got going on, sometimes emotionally. So this is just to, I guess, speak on one of my situations. Last year I was forced to resign from a job that I had. Through that experience, I realized, man, I could be let go at any time. I could be let go at any time in the workforce by any of these big, large companies, any small companies too. And that feeling of uncertainty, it just hit home. I mean, it hit home so much that where I had my own that was my first mental health crisis that I've ever went through. Because I'm like, man, I feel at such a low. I feel vulnerable. I feel uneasy that I just got let go, and now I got to figure it out. Because once you get let go or you forcibly resign, guess what? Life doesn't stop for you. Life doesn't care about what you got going on. Things continue to move. Bills still got to be paid at the beginning of the month. And during that situation, I found quick little easy jobs, luckily enough, such as door-to-door sales and delivery driving, that held me over for a couple months until I found a stable job that would actually pay all the bills as well as still have a little bit of money to play with. And through that, and like I said, through that situation, it opened my eyes to, I would never want to put myself in this position again. And then from there, it led me to doing some research, researching options and looking into ways where I can take a little bit of time out of my day, about 1 hour, 2 hours, to spend working on something that could make me some side income, and maybe turn that side income into a full-time gig, my own business, such as YouTube, such as TikTok shop, or e-commerce, or drop shipping. All of these options I have personally looked into and is dabbling in to try and get myself out of this cog that we are currently in, this system that is just keeping us where we are, and to continue to make these millionaires more and more money. Millionaires and billionaires, more and more money. So I'm currently working on my college degree now. I realized tapping in, I realized I haven't really tapped into any of the skills that I've learned in high school and college. A lot of that is not even getting utilized. The only one that I would say is that I utilize on a daily basis in just life as well as work is critical thinking. I use that on a daily basis, and you'd be surprised how many people don't have that skill or too lazy to use that skill. But besides that, it's like we get this notion to, when we grow up, we go to school, you get through elementary, middle, high, you graduate, you go to college. After college, you're supposed to get your degree, and then you go into the corporate world, and then you stay in the corporate world for 20, 30 years, and then you retire. That's literally what we've been taught since such a young age. But it's fascinating that majority of the degrees that people actually go to school to get, they pay the same amount as if you're working at McDonald's, or if you're working some regular job that doesn't require a degree. So you got these hopes and dreams thinking that, oh, I'm gonna put myself in debt to go off to college. And then once I get out of college, I have these expectations that I should be set for life, right? I should be getting a guaranteed, a good paying job. But a lot of people, especially a lot of college students, has that realization, unless you actually network, unless you actually get into internships, unless you have a specialty degree, such as engineering, IT, or some type of degree in the medical field, a lot of these jobs are not guaranteed. And if you didn't put any work in and you got, say, a degree in business and you graduate, yeah, there's not a lot of companies. It's rare that a company's gonna come knocking on your door saying, hey, we need you. Let's give you this $80,000 salary. $80,000 salary. Wow. But yeah, it's rare that you're gonna see a company come knocking on your door with a degree such as business, because it's such a broad degree. But you can't blame students, because you were just taught since, middle school, high school, that as long as you go to college, get that degree, you'll be set. You don't learn that until you're in college, or until it's too late that, wow, I should have probably participated in more activities, or I probably should have gotten to internships or did other things to get me over the line to probably get a higher paying job, or to get a job at all. Because I know so many college students who graduate, expectations like, okay, I finally got this piece of paper, people are going to be hiring me. But no, a lot of these companies are now looking for experience. And that also plays along with this whole system that I'm talking about, where the younger folks are just they're just seeing better opportunities, better options, instead of just following the system. A lot of the older folks, they have that old mindset where if you follow that system, whereas if it's not even college, because like they say, college isn't for everybody, but if it's not college, then go get a trade, or just work hard, or pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you'll eventually get to where you need to be. But the younger generation is no longer looking at things that way, because there's too many different options out here for making money, to where they don't see the sense in continuing to help someone else's dream, build someone else's company, and continue to be the low man on the totem pole, while the company continues to make millions of dollars off their hard work while they get paid scraps. A good example of a company that's currently doing that would be Amazon. Amazon feels as if I'm working at a sweatshop when I worked at Amazon. Man, especially if you work in the warehouse. It's hot. There's no AC flowing through that building whatsoever. You feel like you're being micromanaged. You are being micromanaged the entire shift. The shifts are 10 or 12 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, they literally have systems set in place to where if you're not packaging enough customers' products into packages within a certain amount of time period, you get a write-up, or you get some type of ding, or you get reprimanded for the fact that you're not moving fast enough. So They have a set, so you have to be doing things fast enough. You get a couple of breaks. Once you get those breaks, I mean, you have to be back exactly at that time, or you get another write-up or a reprimand in with Amazon, and it's just you can tell it's just a typical sweatshop where you're moving. There's no stopping, there's no idle time, there's no relaxation. You are literally coming and you're doing exactly what we tell you, and you're going to keep this production moving. And I feel like that's why Amazon's one of those companies that's moving towards the AI and moving towards the robots, because they want to get people out of there. They want to be as productive as possible and keep things moving as fast as possible. And they know that they can only work human beings so hard. And that's exactly why Amazon had that situation a couple years ago, or I think it was last year actually, where they're still dealing with that till this day, where all across the United States you have employees of Amazon fighting for unionization. They want a union because they're underpaid, but they're being overworked. And I haven't met one person that's worked for Amazon who actually enjoys Amazon, especially if you're working the warehouse or if you're working as a delivery driver. I know some people who are on the IT team or working more corporate. Those guys are living they're having a better experience with Amazon. But most people that's working the warehouse or delivery driving absolutely hate it, because Amazon they're I think $1 billion or $1 trillion company. I think they're close to $1 trillion company, but the benefits are lackluster and they work you like a dog. I mean, whether you delivery driving or in the warehouse, you gonna feel your body at the end of that shift. I guarantee that. I wouldn't recommend anybody work for Amazon. It is absolutely terrible. The point is, the system has been designed. The system in the United States, this capitalistic system, is designed to keep us at the bottom. If you ever woke up and wondered, could I be doing more with my life? Trust me, you're not the only one. I've been thinking of that for the past couple years now, because it just feels like it's just a constant cycle of doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And I think it's because as I'm getting older and I'm spending less time with the people that were, close to me, I wouldn't necessarily call them a distraction, but having them around and doing the activities that I was doing, it was distracting me from my daily routine, because it was always something being switched up. I was always doing something new. But now that those people are off living their own lives, and I'm currently, kind of doing this solo, I'm starting to realize, man, I do the same thing every day. And that I was relying on other people to kind of get me out of my norm, even if that was just through simple conversation or hanging out with them. And now that those people are living their own lives, it's kind of time for me to, I kind of had a wake up. I had a wake up situation where it's like, man, you're just doing the same thing over and over, man. We gotta find something else to do. And I kind of tied that into my 9 to 5. I feel like my 9 to 5, regardless of what job it is, through Amazon or any of these other companies I've worked for, I do the same thing. I go to work and do the exact same thing every single day. There's no switch up. There's nothing new. So you're just on repeat. You're like a robot that just shows up, package, or do whatever you do. Right now it's currently hop on the phone, sell customers products, and then get off the phone and then go to the next call. And it's just a robot. 8 hours go by, you clock out, and you think, oh wow, you got a work from home job, it's probably relaxing. No, I'm mentally exhausted after I get off my job. And it's like, the job is so easy, but you realize, wow, this is taking this much out of you at the end of a shift. And I've also, as time went on, it kind of dinged in my head that these 9 to 5s are sapping my creativity. I no longer wanted to be creative. I found myself being very boring. Even when I started this YouTube channel, I'm like, man, I don't have any ideas of something that I could do that would stand out. And through this YouTube channel, I've kind of started slowly gaining that creativity back and just having fun creating content. Even if I'm not getting paid off of it, it's just almost like a release or a relief of just doing something different, adding some type of value to just this consistent, boring cycle of doing the same thing over and over and over. Wake up, go to work, after work, clock out, go to the gym. After the gym, you cook a meal, you get everything together, you sit down, relax, you watch a couple TV shows or do homework for school, go to bed, start the cycle all over again. The only days that are different is my days off. Those are the only days that switch up. But 2 days off, in my personal and humble opinion, it's just not enough to really enjoy life again. I personally don't want to work hard for a company. And at the end of that, I get a portion of the money that I worked so hard for after putting in 20 plus years, because that's basically what retirement is. You're not guaranteed millions. So unless you're investing that money or had extra income coming in, you'll survive off the portion of your money that you were making while you were physically working. That's why you see a lot of older folks still working at your local Walmarts, Publix, especially down here. Publix is a very popular one that I see a lot of older folks working at. And it just shocks me, because I used to think, I was like, wait, there's no way. How are you still working at Publix at your age, you know? But I'm just starting to, as I'm, doing more research and better understanding my situation, I can understand how you could, because the older generation had that same thing drilled into them. Go to school, go to college, get that degree, get into corporate, you should be set for life. And most of the older folks that I know, they've been working their job or been in that industry for the entire time, majority of their lives. Jumping from one job to another, I feel like that's more common with the younger generation, and switching up and having a midlife crisis and things of those natures, that is more common with the younger generation, the quarterly crisis going on and everything. But with the older generation, most of those people, they say they've been in their career. Even when I have conversations with them, they say they've been in their career 20, 30 years. They stayed at that entire company and was loyal the entire time. So I definitely understand why they're in the situation that they're in, but I find a lot of them either having to, still work, or they're when they're close to retirement, they end up having to cut back on expenses, or they end up or while getting ready to head into retirement, they're working multiple jobs just to kind of get themselves set up financially, so that when they do finally retire, they're good for the rest of their time. And for me personally, I just don't want to put myself in that position. When it's time to stop working, I want to be done with working. I want to be able to relax and enjoy my life with no work to think about at all, or even have streams of passive income still coming in at that age, to where there's nothing that I would have to worry about. Just to kind of provide some suggestions, finding that side hustle and putting in a little bit of time for that side hustle. At the end of the day, these companies have us working 8 hours a day. So if you really wanted it, putting 1 to 2 hours out of your day to get yourself out of this continuous cycle of a 9 to 5 doing the same thing every week, 5 days a week, 8 hours, and you're coming home tired, exhausted, and it's not even worth it because your entire paycheck is going towards your bills. I feel like in that instance, maybe it's time to take a look within, take that risk, take that leap of faith, and try and start building yourself something on the side. I'm never going to be the guy to tell you to drop your 9 to 5. That would be insane. Keep working your 9 to 5, but start that side hustle. Build up that little extra money that you need to start that side hustle. And then while you're starting that side hustle, continue building it. Continue to pour into it. and just don't stop unless you get to a certain point to where you've put into it and you're not seeing the results. Then that's when I'll always suggest you look at that as a lesson learned, take that information that you learned, and then transfer that information over to something else. A lot of people are hesitant to branch out because they don't want to fail, but trying and failing is such a valuable lesson. A lot of people take losing, failing, they take that hard. But I started to learn as I've gotten older that taking L's, taking things on the chin, failing at things, I learned so much more from that than continuously winning all the time. You learn way more through failing, falling on your face, and getting back up than just continuing to win all the time. Even though it's a little long-winded, just to take that information and say, don't be afraid to try and fail. It's worth it. Don't and change your mindset on it. Don't look at it as a waste of time. Don't look at it as a waste of resources. Look at it as, man, I tried this, but I learned a lot from this. And what I learned from this, I'm going to take and apply it to other things. I'm going to find what is going to get me to where I want to be. And that also leads into my other point is, until you want to succeed as much as you hate the thing that you're putting the time into currently, things won't change. Things won't change. You'll continue to be okay with where you're at. It's just the part is that you have to be strong enough. It's just that part of you has to be strong enough to want to make that change. If you're not strong enough to make that change, you're going to continue to be comfortable sitting where you are and staying where you are. I always say change comes in small portions. So Rome wasn't built in a day. It was built piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. And that's going to be the same thing with your side hustle. That's going to be the same thing with you getting yourself out of your current situation when it comes to people who don't like their job, or who particularly don't see themselves continue to work a 9-to-5 for the rest of their lives. Just to provide, options. You got the TikTok shop affiliates, you got drop shipping, you got YouTube, you got e-commerce. There is so many ways to make extra income, and these extra incomes can turn into a situation where it becomes a full-time a business for you, to where you're making just as much or more with that than what you are with your 9-to-5. And that's the ultimate goal, right? And I would say, to get started, like I was saying earlier, do it while you're working your 9-to-5. Put in that 1 to 2 hours, maybe even more time. Because if you put in that time, you'll realize as time goes on, you can't fail. You're putting in so much time for something that you're chasing, that you're going to eventually accomplish your goal. You just have to be willing to take that leap forward and make that change and start that process for yourself. And then you'll see the results as time goes on, man. Because for me personally, it's going to be this YouTube channel. It's going to be a mental battle to continue to put in effort towards something that I've wanted since I was a kid, but I just never had the balls to actually take on the process. And now I'm finally taking on the process. And if this does become a profitable hobby, because right now I consider this is going to be a hobby, but if it becomes profitable, that's absolutely amazing. If it doesn't, just know I'm still going to be dipping my hands and feet into a lot of different options and opportunities to reach that financial stability, and to finally say, I don't need a 9-to-5. I can just enjoy life the way that I feel like all human beings should be living life, to where they take a vacation when they want to. They don't have to ask another grown person, can I take a vacation, or can I take time off, or hey, I'm sick, is it okay if I stay home today? You can live your life with freedom. You can spend more time with your family, your friends, and you can live your version of life the way you want to live it. And that's kind of how I wanted to kind of end off this video. I know it's in my opinion, it's a very interesting topic, but I wanted to speak on it because like I stated at the beginning, a lot of people are inside this box because our society has kind of forced this onto us as we grew up and continue to force it onto us as time goes on, that's the path that we must take. But now that more opportunities and more perspectives and all these other different routes are available now, I think it's best to take those routes. I think it's best to take a step outside that box and look at other opportunities. And for the older generation to not be so hard on the younger generation, because I believe that the younger generation has had that realization, and the older generation is just so used to one way of thinking that now that the younger generation is pushing back against that, they're like, oh, these people don't want to work hard. Oh, this younger generation doesn't want to do anything. They're just lazy. Yeah, there's lazy people in every generation. But I think majority of them are realizing that this is not the path I want. I've seen my grandmother. I've seen my grandfather. I don't want to be in that predicament. I want to enjoy life. And I don't blame them, because I'm on that same page. I'm glad I kind of had that realization while I'm still young, because I definitely don't want to be 60 years old, still working at Walmart, still working at Walgreens, trying to get by, because, you know, life is tough and I wanted to be comfortable working for a corporate company for 20, 30 years and expecting everything to be fine towards the end of the road. That's just not me. But I do appreciate y'all listening to my little yap sesh. I'd love to get your thoughts and hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. If you want to hear more of these, please drop a like. I definitely appreciate it. But other than that, I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Take it easy, man.